over there?
Just depression.
Oh, my God. All right. Here's to a history class that won't give Marxism a pass. It's true, DeSantis takes on the world's worst commies and has lefties crying for their birthing persons. On Monday, a day of the week, the president of the Republic of Florida, Ron DeSantis, signed a law requiring students to learn about communism, establishing November 7th as a state holiday called Victims of Communism Day, or VOCTI.
You can see at a college campus students flying the hammer and sickle from the old Soviet Union flag. You will see students that will have T-shirts with Che Guevara on the T-shirts. You will see students that will idolize people like Mao Zedong. That, to me, bespeaks of a tremendous ignorance about what those individuals represented and the evils that communism inflicted on people throughout the world. And so our goal here is to stand for the truth.
All right, hereafter, the only pinkos Florida tolerates are tourists who forgot to pack sunblock. Because, yeah, their skin goes red.
Right.
Yeah. Somebody drugged the audience. Joke's that bad today, huh? Is that what it is? You're just so intent. Now, Florida isn't the first state to adopt this designation, but it's the first to mandate 45 minutes of school instruction on that day. That's not that much. Students will learn about Lenin, Stalin, Castro, Mao Zedong, Jane Fonda. Once again, Bernie Sanders is left out. Students will also learn how people under those regimes endured, quote, suppression of speech, poverty, starvation, migration, and systemic lethal violence. Sounds like Portland, Oregon. Of course, DeSantis has already gone after Disney in recent weeks, positioning himself as a leader in the culture war. He really made Pluto his bitch. All the more significant considering he only trails Trump in polls on the GOP favorite for president, while Mike Pence draws less interest than a savings account. Although we shouldn't forget about this guy who's also climbing up the polls.
Oh, my God.
Money!
Wow.
I wish I had some singles. Chrissy, is this a good idea?
I know that I want that guy at my birthday party, that's for sure. It's interesting that Victims of Communism Day is happening in November at school. So what does that mean? Instead of hand turkeys, they're going to draw like hand Trotskys? I don't know.
Hand Trotsky.
I think
that sounds like a medical condition. You got the Trotskys.
I think any kid that's been forced to share their snack with the rest of the class is a victim of communism.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Ugh, I wish I had snacks, Tyrus. What do you make of this? You know what? Oh, here's my theory. I have a theory. You're going to like this one. Governor DeSantis's effectiveness as a governor and a presidential candidate, he's Trump without the Trumpism. He's all of these things are very interesting, provocative, and I would say it's smart ideas, but it's not wrapped in that cocoon of tweets and brashness. So he might actually have learned something, absorbed what works from Trump and what doesn't. What do you think of that theory?
That's pretty good. Did you see my care face? My care face was on point.
Yes.
That was really good. We've been working on it.
Let's do it together.
Yeah.
I have a feeling when I'm not around, you two talk about me a lot more than I think.
Yeah, we do it on our podcast.
I don't think we've had one conversation like, what do you do now? Like,
Craig Butterfield.
Yeah.
They even have a code name for me, so it doesn't show up in Google searches.
He's doing something crazy, though. Speaking of crazy, he's doing something out of this world. Like, he's really just stepping out the box. He's fighting with facts.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You know what? I'll give you a history lesson on communism. Let me guess what they're going to come out and say. I know exactly what they're going to say. It's racist. It's racist that you're teaching us about the evil side of communism. And he's also pointing the people who are for it to where everyone's going to look at them. So you're only in favor of communism, because most communists are, when they're running the show, because they have to keep the money and the power to make sure it's, spread evenly amongst the masses, and a few starve along the way. Yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But so by isolating the people who are for that, they're going to be like, so you also support this, which is the horribleness of Stalin and Marx, and they see how bad the starve. 100 million people died.
Right.
On the wrong end of communism. That's kind of hard to woke out of.
Yeah, it is.
Were they all racist?
Yeah.
You know,
well, yeah, and the funny thing is, when they look at Karl Marx and they look at Engels, they were actually racist.
Yeah,
they were not woke.
There was no mixing. There was no little Tyruses running around. Nobody.
There's no such thing as a little Tyrus.
Yeah.
That made me think of something really bad. You know, Kat, this is like the Republican answer to CRT.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to do CRT? We're going to teach kids about how bad communism is. But Tyrus is right. This is actually factual history, and it's not like an ideology behind this lesson.
Totally. I'm gonna say communism is bad.
Finally,
but the thing is, you can honestly, you don't have to have a day to teach it, but you just teach world history, and then you can see that communism is bad.
But what do we like? Isn't it called, when I was a kid, social studies? Yep. What the hell was that?
I don't know. I mean, they called it social studies.
That was the trend. It wasn't called world history anymore. It was called social studies.
Yep. Well, that's when the country fell apart.
Yeah.
Because social studies is racist. Because if you're not a social person, you're being excluded from social studies.
But
they need to have loan studies.
What about socialism studies?
Yeah.
Socialism studies.
But honestly, you have to say that Ron DeSantis is like, if he wasn't a governor, like he'd be so good, like at marketing.
Yeah.
Like this man knows his audience.
But this is
my like, you know what? Everyone agrees is the worst is communism.
But you got to think about this. Is that if this sounds like a Trump idea?
Yep.
But it's not. It doesn't have the Trump veneer on it, which means people can't He's like a mountain that a mountain climber has a hard time climbing because there's no nooks and crannies like Trump has, Jimmy.
But he finds a way. No, DeSantis picks really good fights because the things he's going after people care about. Communism, as Tyra said, has killed 100 million people. I believe it's the second biggest killer of all time next to the Clintons. But when you really get into the specifics of what these battles mean to people, because the Parental Rights and Education Bill, which is not the Don't Say Gay bill, doesn't mention gay, is popular with parents on both sides of the aisle. It's 62% with parents, Republican and Democrat combined, and they're trying to, paint this as anti-gay, anti-trans. It's none of that. Parents just know that their kindergarten kids don't want to fly to Disney and go on a ride called Snow White and the Seven Genders. You know what I'm saying? No one is waiting in line 2 hours for Peter Pan sexual, and DeSantis is right to know that. And that's why he's winning.
Yes. And on that note, Peter Pan sexual. Why didn't I think of that?
I think I dated him.
Yeah. Well, up next, would you still make your daily commute if it means getting attacked en route?